Okay, so before we start implementing these other menu options, I want to first make it so that we can save these tasks. Because otherwise it's kind of annoying to have to keep typing things in. Because as soon as I refresh this, my tasks are gone. Right? I look at my tasks array and it's an empty array again. So to save it, there's actually something that we can do where we can save data inside of the browser. Now, it's just local storage, right? It'll just save on the computer that you're working on. In fact, it's associated with this URL. So you got to have the same port and everything, okay? And oh, look, I was doing my contact program before, so you can see local storage has some stuff in it. And basically, it's an object, right? There's a key called contacts, and that contacts is storing a string with information about all the different contacts in it. Now, local storage has all sorts of built-in functions we can do. One of them is clear. So we go localstorage.clear, that'll clear it. So now if we look up local storage, well, you saw it there for a second, it has a length of 0, it's empty. There's also local storage.set item, and this takes in, like it says here, a key and a value. So I'm just going to go test, and the value will be 1. Right, and now if I look up local storage, look at that. It has a key called test, and its value is 1. Notice, however, that local storage only stores a string. And that's important because when we're converting our data structure, we're gonna use JSON to convert our data structure, our task data structure, into a string. And then when we load it from local storage, we'll convert it back into the data structure. And JSON makes that really easy. Anyway, there's also a local storage.get item, and we just pass in the key, in this case test, and it'll return the value of test, which is the string 1. Okay, so set item and get item are the main ones we're going to be using. So let's go back to here and let's do a helper function. I'm in my helper function section, and we'll define a function called save tasks. And literally all we need to do here is local storage.set item. We'll just call it tasks. And then I want to convert, what do I want to save? Well, I want to save whatever's inside of my global tasks array. But before we do that, I need to go json.stringify. Okay, and json.stringify will take that data structure that I pass in, which is tasks, and it'll convert it into a JSON string using the notation of JSON, that format. Okay, and that should, I'm just going to save that for a second. Oh, but I need to call this function. So that would make sense here. Right after I add a task, I want to say, okay, I've changed the array. Now we should call the function save tasks. Right, we pushed a new task in, we save it, and we display it. Okay, let's see if that works. So we say go do something great. It added it there. If I look at tasks, yes, it's in there. If I look at local storage, hey, look at that. Local storage has a task, and it's storing this JSON string, right? The array with the object inside of it. Completed is empty. And test is still there. Oh, you can also do a remove. You can do the clear, but I think you can also remove item if you wanted to. So we could remove that test one. Whatever, not a big deal. Okay, so it's saved into local storage, but when I refresh this, my tasks are still, like, it's still going to be empty, right? Because as soon as we load the program, I empty it here. So let's do something different here. Let's have another function called load tasks. And that load task function is going to load the task from local storage and return the results. So it'll save into this variable. Okay, we'll do that down here. Function load tasks, like so. We should make our comments here again. So save global task to local storage. And this one will be load tasks from local storage. So we're going to say task string is assigned local storage dot get item task. Whoops, too many things. Okay, there we go. And I like to call this task string to remind myself that what's inside of local storage is a string, right? This isn't my data structure. I have to convert it. So the way we convert it is the opposite of JSON.stringify is JSON.parse. So I'm going to return JSON.parse, and we're going to parse our task string. Right? So our task string is going to be the thing from local storage that was the stringified task, and it's going to parse it so that it goes back into a data structure, and we'll return that. And then when we return it, it'll get stored inside of our task here. That's the plan. Let's see if it works. Okay, so maybe we should have a display all. Is that what it was called? I forget already. Yeah, display all. So once we loaded the tasks, we want to see them right away. I don't want to have to wait till I add a task. We'll call our function right away. And there it is, right? I refresh it, and it's loading the tasks from local storage. Right? That's where it got this one from, right? Do something great. So that's cool. It's saving the stuff into here and loading it. Let's test a couple of things here. We'll add another one. Do something funny. Let's add one more. Do something serious. Okay, and if I hit refresh, yay, they all stay there, right? It's not initializing to an empty array anymore. One last thing I want to do with local storage, though, is what if I went localstorage.clear, right? So now local storage should be empty. And now if I hit refresh, main.js line 62 cannot, oh yeah, see, I'm trying to display all. Cannot read properties of null reading length. So we're trying to get the length of tasks, but task is null because this load task thing was returning this, but there was nothing to parse, right? Local storage is empty, so it couldn't get the item. So the task string was like undefined probably, and when we try to parse undefined, we get null or undefined or whatever. So there's a really easy way to deal with this. This is kind of a, I don't know how new it is anymore, but if you do double question mark, it's the null coalescing operator. And basically what it means is that I want to evaluate this, and if this is null or undefined, it'll do what's to the right of this, which is just going to be an empty array. Okay, so that's what this double question mark means, the null coalescing operator. It says if this is null or undefined, then just return evaluate to this. So that should cover us to say, hey, there's nothing in local storage, this didn't work, so just return the empty array, and then our task will just be the empty array, and we shouldn't get that error. Let's try that. So refresh. I should save first, the little dot there, control save. Okay, all right, so local storage is empty, and my task is the empty array. So that worked, right? The load task returned the empty array. Awesome. So now when there is nothing in local storage, the first time you run the program, it should be good to go. Do something hilarious. Just going to add a couple things here. Something interesting. Do something dull. Okay, refresh. Yay! It is persistent data, right? If I were to close this, close the port there, hit go live again, launch it, it's there because this URL has that local storage. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to stop there, and the next one will continue with menu options.